Welcome everybody, it's Peps again, here with your Carlton Football Club 2021 season preview. Will it finally be the year that Bolton's green shoots grow into thunderous oaks? Or will the Teague train once again maybe get derailed? I don't know. We'll find out more, but you know what? I've had some rippers over the first couple of previews, but I have not just gone local, I even went international. I have Terry from Blue Abroad, who has spent copious amounts of times outside the borders of Australia, but still loves and breathes the Carlton Football Club. And I have him here today. Welcome, Terry, to Lace Out.
Wow, what an intro. It was, speaking of lace out, that intro was lace out, straight to me.
I thought there was a bit of a stammer coming into the last part, but we got through it. Hey, look, welcome aboard, because you are a very, very passionate Blues, I won't say supporter, I'll say member, but more importantly, you spent time overseas and still had the time to invest into the club that you love. Just give the listeners a little bit of history about you, because this is an amazing story.
Yeah, so long story short, I left the country in 2017 and I just wanted to travel and see the world a little bit and work. And I wanted to stay in touch with the club. I love Carlton so much. It was my first memory of, joy and happiness and elation and all that excitement. And just I have always felt a deeper love for the football club than what I can remember anything else, to be honest. And so living overseas, wanted to stay connected, was listening to podcasts, was following other fan channels from other sports around the world, and sort of had the idea to start my own podcast and build a community there and stay in touch with other supporters. And that's really where it began. It began in China, then Israel, and then in 2019 came home because I decided you can't have a proper podcast or YouTube channel without being in Melbourne for the football, right?
Makes it it's like Channel 10 trying to do a football show and not have any football footage. It makes it a bit of a challenge, and then it end up just having to pack it in. But I'll tell you what, I've had a bit of a look at some of your stuff, and you're actually not good. You are sensational. You've embraced the club. You embrace everything about Carlton. You are the unofficial Carlton.
I'm one of many. There's many passionate blue baggers around the world, and I appreciate the sentiment. It's it's been a good journey.
Now let's be frank. You've had some lean times over the last number of years, and when you said all that stuff about joy and happiness, etc., I thought I might have been talking about another club, because you haven't had it for quite a while. Look, I know where you're coming from, so it's finally nice to suddenly see all that potential that Bolts had starting to come into play. Last year wasn't too bad. It was a bit of a derailed season. We know that. There's just a lot of excitement talking on about Carlton. Football's better when Carlton is going well. When Carlton is in the news, AFL's in the news.
100%. We are one of the few clubs that have that effect on the competition, I think, because you can love us, hate us, or love to hate us. I think at the moment we get a little bit of pity from the rest of the league, which we need to stop and turn that around. But I think Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon, Richmond, these types, if they're all playing finals, I think the competition's totally different.
Well, a mate of mine, Brad Lloyd, is looking after everything down at your club, so you're definitely in very, very good hands. But look, let's just do a bit of a snapshot of 2020. We know it was the COVID season, but you've finished at a respectable 11th position, 7 wins, 10 losses, sitting at a nice 94.34%. Jacob Wiedering takes out the best and fairest, which was, I think, he hasn't been maligned, but it's almost like, well, when's Wiedering going to take the next step? When's he going to live up to the reputation, etc.? And it's unfortunately, a lot of number one draft picks and that top echelon cop it year after year. And it was really nice to see him break out of that shell and really take the league on. And you've got a keeper down there. He is, and even just watching the game the other night, he was an absolute ripper for your mob. You're very, very lucky, because you can build not just a back line, but you can actually build an attack through him as well too. So it's good to see. How did you see 2020 for your mob?
2020, it left me with a bitter taste in my mouth. I think that's the best way to summarize it as efficiently as I can. Started slowly, Then we had a nice little patch in that middle part of the season. Once we came to the frenzy and the 4 games in 13 days, whatever it was, mismanagement, tired bodies, whatever the case may be, that really hurt us finishing the season. And in a year where we were expecting to improve, I would say we had some improvement, but maybe not to the level that we were hoping. So, yeah, it was frustrating because we as a football club, we're now entering that 6th year since we were given the 5-year plan from the footy club. So, you know, we have expectations. And like you said before, you know, I don't have many great memories as a Carlton supporter. So we need to turn that around. So, yeah, left me with a sour taste in my mouth. But, you know, within that, there were a few shining lights.
I would actually say it's a bit better than that. If you have a look, I'm a massive advocate. I've learned this from Paul Roos. The signs of how a team is going, sometimes the wins and losses don't make an accurate prediction. He says if you have a look at the percentage, that gives you a bit of an overall indication of how the team is tracking. So 2019, your percentage was 84.46. Last year, in 2020, jacks it up to 94.34. So you've jumped up 10%. So you're not just attacking more on the scoreboard, but you're actually being able to stifle what's coming back the other way, which is growth. And if you can get to that 100, you know, level itself out, you're in a really good spot. And I think, look, I don't know if you heard much of what happened over the preseason and also the off-season, but Carlton were a little bit active at the trade table. They picked up a couple of guys. Don't know if you heard of them. They came in under the radar. A guy by the name of Adam Sard. Don't know if you know much about him. And another bloke, apparently from New South Wales, played at a club called GWS, I think, Zach Williams. 2 very low-key players entered the club through trade week. I think, in my deep down, I think they might have a bit to give to the Blues this year. I think that they might add a little bit of speed. I'm not too sure if you've heard about them. They've kept it quite quiet, but I reckon they're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I have no idea who you're talking about. I mean, the club haven't really given us any images, any videos, no content relating to them. It's fascinating.
No, they've just kept it such on the down low. I think they're just going to, break it out. Let's be honest. You must have been pumping. You must have been doing double cobras, just fist pumping the air, going, how did we get, one thing that we needed was speed and ball users coming off half back and someone else to help out Cripps. You get Adam Sard, who's probably one of the best bouncers in the league. Takes 3 steps, bounce, 2 more steps, bounce. And then Zach Williams, who once again can come off half back, but is, they're plugging him into the midfield. You chuck in Lockie Fogarty as well too. It just helps, just takes a bit more pressure off the Walshes, the Dowles, etc. to be the in and unders, and they can be a bit more of that outside. It's exciting times for Carlton. And I have another question relating to that, but relating to 2021. So have a bit of a think about this year. But How much of a difference are these guys really going to make from your perspective?
Yeah, a world of a difference in 2 positions on the ground. The way I see Sard, he's basically Cade Simpson minus 10 years and adding probably 10 or 12 or 13 kilometers an hour to his speed. True. And a guy that can get it 20, 25 times and use it well and run and carry. And then you've got Zach Williams, who I think people look at him as the flashy, quick type, but I think the underrated part of his game is his physical. And to be honest, Carlton are not really a physical midfield. We have Cripps, who is a big boy, but I don't think we have such a reputation outside of the AFL, outside of our own fans, as being physical. And I think Williams brings that. But because he's got the class as well to match the physicality, I think he's exactly what we need. And, when you talk about Walsh and him taking that next step, then you got Cripps, Walsh and Williams competing in that midfield. I think we're in good shape.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. Did the Blues invest too much cash into Zach Williams? There's numbers, I don't know official. I'm going off Dr. Twitter, all right, Dr. Google as well. Now, you're pushing up to 900 Gs a year for a guy that's predominantly played halfback and you want to tweak him into a midfielder. That's elite money. Has the Blues invested too much into him, or do they see something that, like you said, the outsiders don't see?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something that the outsiders don't see. I mean, we love splashing cash. We spend $700,000 a year on Mitch McGovern. So,
Yes. Yeah, but most of the time when there's cash in Carlton, it's usually brown paper bags, but we haven't seen them for many, many years because, the last time you did that, it put your club back 10 years.
20,
25. Hey, at least you've been able live to see a premiership. I haven't, all right? So you've still got that one on me as well. But look, it's a lot of money to invest, but I think you can see that they're going to provide that run. They're going to provide that support because Cripps is an absolute gun. Like, and I just, the thing that I think when I see Cripps play is he's going to be one of these players that has just thrown his body in for so long, into his young career that he might finish up 2 or 3 years early because of the toll that it's taken on him, which is a shame. So he needs as much help as he can get. And there's probably he probably could use a couple more extras or the boys just to get a little bit bigger as well too. So do you see this as a start of maybe a couple more moving in next year as well?
I mean, to be honest, I think they're there. Honestly, Walsh is there. Yeah, I think so. I think Walsh is there. I think Williams is there. I think because Cripps stands out the way he does for so long, especially in that 2016, 17, 18 years, and even 19. I mean, I get it. He's a hard footballer and he's crash and bash. I think we attach a lot of emotion to him, but that's his job. That's what he's like. That's his job. I think now he's got the help. I really do. I think there's 2 or 3 guys in that midfield that can. I actually think Walsh is a better player already, if I'm honest. I really do. I really do mean that.
Better than, not better than Cripps.
Absolutely. I think Walsh is well and truly going to be, by the end of 2021, we'll be talking about Walsh as the man. I really do think that.
Tell you what, listeners, I told you, I got the best. That's a big call. That is a massive call.
Yeah, I think Walsh is our boy. Walsh is the guy. But like I said, we've got help. We've got a good defensive structure. I think maybe one more midfielder needs to rise from that Paddy Dow, Liam Stocker, O'Brien, Setterfield type group. But yeah, I mean, Cripps is 6'4" and he's a big boy. He's going to take a lot of hits. Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of a look at your list profile. It's actually really good because you've only got 7 players over the age of 28, which is really low compared to some of the other clubs. I think Geelong have doubled that. And if you have a look what's happened to them after the first round, this is being done on a Sunday night after the first round, and they got smashed by an Adelaide team. I predicted during the week when we did our tipped out segment, me and J-Dog, I said it would have been a hungy. I said it would have been a hungy to Geelong. They got smashed. They're slow, and the speed of Adelaide on that big deck, they had 9 players under. 9 players over 30. You had 7 on you've only got 7 on your list, that's a nice place to be. And then if you have a look from a games perspective, I think you've got only 4 players over 150 games. Your list is young. So if you can start to get that growth like we saw last year and continue with that for the next 2, you're going to be in a really sexy spot as the older ones start to trickle off. You know, plenty of salary cap space. Oh, geez, you're in a good spot. I never thought I'd say that about Carlton, probably maybe even as less as, 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a long process. It has. And a lot has been done behind the scenes. It doesn't get seen, and even by our own fans. But I think the plan that we put in place probably started planning from 2014, 2015. It's starting to come together, but, I mean, it's now time to see it, really.
Yeah, and the other good thing is also you've got 11 players under 10 games as well. So you've still got that, obviously the new ones that have come on board, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. You've got those, but then you have a look at the ones who are sitting between, 40 games and under. You've got Sam Walsh, David Cunningham. I reckon Michael Gibbons has been a great little pickup. Like you paid basically nothing for him. He's still on your rookie list. I don't know how a guy who's played 37 games is still on your rookie list. Will Setterfield, Lachlan Fogarty, Mark Pittonet, like he's just taken that ruck roll on, and I think better than we expected. And you've also got, as they call him on SEM, Batman, Liam Jones. Like, no one wanted him. And then he's come along to Geelong. They go, he's not come along to Carlton. He's not a forward. I remember I heard of this on the radio. They're going to try him down back. And I think, you've got to be kidding me. He has been sensational for you. He reminds me a lot of Zach Dawson, how ridiculed he was by so many clubs. So he just does his job week in, week out.
He's a fascinating story. He really is.
He is a fascinating, and he's up to 143 games. Like he's probably sitting back going somewhere I never thought I'd be. And look at me now. It is a fascinating story. Out of all the younger kids, we mentioned Walsh. Who's the one that makes you go, oh yeah, when he's got the ball in his hands or he's in the vicinity? Is there one that just makes you go, strap yourself in for this one?
Yeah, Zach Fisher.
Yeah,
yeah.
What is it about? What is it about the fish man that lights up your eyes, Terry?
He's got quick feet, very quick feet. He sort of plays the game like he's playing Call of Duty. He's got quick reaction times. He, when you think is about to get pinned, he finds a little gap to slide into. And he's got a saying on his Instagram bio that says, "Slow feet don't eat." I think he plays like that.
Ooh, yeah. Bit of tap dogs about him, does he? Just knows how to get in and out of the. I love a bit of fast feet. Now I've got to ask you about one guy. I don't know how I see him, but I just see him. He's got a lot of bigger over the preseason. The hyphen. Every team's got a hyphen. Your hyphen, Sam Petrevsky-Seton. He looks like it might be starting to click for him. I thought last year he was okay, but even on the Thursday night that we just saw, he seemed to just he was a little bit bigger. He's a little bit more, I wouldn't say confident, but he's got the ability to go one-on-one with people, knowing that he has got the size. He's just not going to get pushed out. So is he another one that you can, see, not just hope, but see that, I think his time is going to arrive, especially after 81 games. What's that, fifth season now?
Yeah, fifth season.
It's time, isn't it?
It is time. Top 10 pick, fifth season. I think it was a pick 6. Samo's gone onto the half back line after sort of being drafted as a midfielder / half forward. So he's adjusting to this new role. I think we're taking a step back to go forward with him long term. So there's a little bit of patience needed with him. But the potential, and that's the hard word to say as a Carlton fan, because we say it all the time.
He's got the most dangerous word when it comes to AFL football: potential and hope.
Yep, and we have a lot of it.
We have a lot of it as well too. Hey, look, I've got to ask you about the gun forward that you recruited over not over Christmas, but you brought onto your list. Actually, the last player that you brought onto your list, Oscar McDonald. Did you see him having a career best night in front of goal the other night when he slotted those 2 big majors? Because apparently Melbourne are now going to be targeting him during the trade period.
I'll be honest with you, after his first preseason game against Essendon, I take notes during the game while I watch him, and I just said, we cannot have Oscar McDonald. And then within 3 weeks, he's played a game, come on, kicked 2.5. He's, shut me up. I didn't see it coming. I don't know if I can rely on it, but I definitely didn't see it coming.
Look, I don't think you can rely on it, but just to know that there's a guy, he'll have a crack. And that's the thing about him. He'll have a crack, and you want those players that'll have a crack, because you can teach the skill, but if the will's not there, and we've seen so many players over the years, and goodness gracious, Carlton have had a few of we've got picked up the top end of the food chain, Lawrence Angwin for one, that just went completely off the rails, and you just couldn't do it as well. So look, so if we have a look over a couple other things that happened over the season, moving from 21 to 22, you did lose one of my favourites. He is one of the. I have a soft spot for 2 things: long sleeve jumpers and plays in the number 6. This guy nailed both of them. Okay, it basically looked like me. All right, because that's what I used to run around dominating off halfback for years. But Cade Simpson, like seriously. Every club would love to have a Cade Simpson playing for them. Like, he's that one that, once again, he's not under the radar, but he's not up there. He's not Judd. He's not Cripps. He's not Martin. You know what I mean? But you got to have people like this, because they're the blood and guts, the heart and soul of the team. And to have him not there, that's a massive hole from a leadership perspective that somebody else now has to pick up. Just give us some words how much this guy meant to your club.
Yeah, he does. I mean, even if you bring it back to like local footy, there's always that guy that's played for many, many, many years at your footy club. He's even there into his 50s and 60s. Like, he's just always at the club. And I think that's Simo. He's a Carlton man. I think every club needs one. He represents loyalty in the sport, which makes it unique. He also represents a complete generation of supporters, pretty much, me, my age, 29, that generation of supporters. Simo's been there through our entire childhood until now. And, unfortunately, he played in a very poor time for the football club where everything was just a disaster. And it's not his fault that he was drafted to a bad situation. And I think he just earned that respect because he wasn't the biggest player, but he got the most out of his body. I think he's earned that respect outside the 4 walls of the Carlton Football Club. And not only will he, leave a hole in leadership on the field, but I think he also teaches the other players how to be a Carlton man, So there's another story to it. And like you mentioned, the sleeves. He is Mr. Sleeve.
You know who he is? He is the 2000s version of Robbie Flower.
Right.
Wore the long sleeves, like not the biggest bloke out there, but my goodness, he was heart and soul, and probably was the club's best player for many years, but just never got to play in successful teams. Like I think, Robbie only played one final, I think it was, in his entire time. Like that's Cade Simpson to a degree. He was
spot on
2 or 3 years. Like even when the D's finished in '87, they played a grand final the next year. Like that's the sort of stuff that just makes your head explode. It's, even from a Bob Skilton perspective, played all those games and never played a final. It's just sensational players, unfortunately, just get the bad draw. But his legacy is going to live on. I have a quick hands, and I usually roll out my quick hands questions at the year, but now we're on the subject. My first quick hands for you is this. Will Cade Simpson get Hall of Fame status at the AFL?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I
think so.
I know.
I think so.
I think so.
I do. I mean, I can understand you want to prioritize those who win flags. I get that perception. But I still think he'll find his way in there eventually.
Yeah. Well, that's a strange one to ask, but I'm just, when you add it all up, if someone like Lenny Hayes can get in there, I think, we've spoken about it before, there is that good guy factor, the nice guy factor that tends to get in. And I reckon he's a perfect addition to it. I think if you play over 300 games, it's almost like an automatic to a degree, because you can't be.
I agree.
You can't be. You can't be playing that many games for a club or playing AFL if you've got something. If you haven't got something special about you. So I think there's been others that have got in there that you go a bit. There wouldn't be a from anybody if he made it, which is awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So you go into the 2020 draft. You pick up Corey Durden at 37. You pick up Jack Carroll at 41 and Luke Parks on the rookie list. You didn't have obviously too many draft picks because you used them all up on everybody else, which is totally understandable. Any thoughts, observations on those three so far?
Yeah, so Corey Durden is a small forward who we actually sponsor at Blue Abroad. So ripping young kid from Adelaide. Yeah, we love him. Good family, good kid. He's going to play football for us in 2021. I'm pretty confident in saying that because we've needed a specialist small forward for a while. And that's kind of why you start seeing Cunningham and Fisher play forward when they're, they've been groomed as midfielders from a young age. But yeah, Corey Durden, small forward, very excited about him, very fast, high footy IQ. Jack Carroll will probably just develop over the course of, he's a long-term prospect, a midfielder. He's bottom-age kid. And Luke Parks, well, they love him. They love his interceptability. I'm not going to say he is Tom Stewart, but the way he plays, the way he throws himself at footies, it gives you that Tom Stewart, flash in your mind. He's a very courageous intercept defender. So yeah, we like where we're at with those three boys. I think they fill holes that we needed, especially Durden, because we need a specialist small forward because the reality is Eddie Betts, he's got to go at some point. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to mention Eddie because he is on the list. And look, it was nice to see him come and finish his career at Carlton. You'd have to say it's his last year. He's on the rookie list, etc. He's played 331 games. Like if you said that to him, when he first started, mate, you're going to play 331 games and be known as one of the best small forwards ever to play the game. You'd probably go, okay, and probably roll his eyes. But the good thing about what you've just said is that because your list is so young, those three, if not Durden, but Carroll and Parks, they do have that luxury to a degree of working their way through the VFL, et cetera, and move. They don't have to be rushed in. Other teams that, we mentioned one team like Geelong, they may have to think about, if this goes downhill with their age profile, do we have to rush these kids in a little bit earlier when they're not ready? You guys are in such a good position that you've got so many young kids. Even the guys sitting at, 1 or 2 seasons in are in much better position to go forward where those other ones can just slot in underneath and do their time, get their confidence, refine their skills so that you don't have to overawe them and waste. It's not waste is probably a bad word, but throw them to the wolves in their first couple of years because of the profile that you've got. So that's a nice way that you said it, that just let them develop. We don't let the kids develop. We think that because they're a high draft pick or they're it, Durden, he has to be in because he's our foot. It doesn't work like that. You just got to it's like a wine. You can't just drink a red wine straight away. You've got to let it sit. You've got to let it marinate. You've got to let the flavors develop. And the longer you do it and the more patient you are, the better the taste is going to be. And if it's the taste of a premiership, my goodness, you'll be very, very thirsty for more. All right, let's have a look at 2021. So from your perspective, what are you most optimistic about heading into this season?
Most optimistic, I think there's going to be a genuine layer of belief within the group that they're ready to take the next step. I'm very optimistic about our team moving from the back line. I think the back line is a really, really strong line. I'm excited about it. I think the midfield is going to mature. I think the forward line needs some work as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the penny drop moment for a lot of these players. I really am. And I think we're well prepared. It's pretty much exactly what you said. We've never really been in a position for, the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years where we can have young kids just develop before being thrown into games when they're not ready. And I think everything else around the club is well set up off field. And therefore I think the on field is just the next thing. And finals football is really that next step.
It is. I do have one thing, and you've just mentioned it there, is your forwards. Will the forwards be able to kick enough of a score? And if we look at it, we've got Casbolt. This is at the moment the forward setup if I looked at it. So if I'm missing anyone, just jump in. We've got Casbolt, Curnow, Mackay, Silvani, McGovern, Gibbons in there. Like I've just sort of rounded it out. Is that group going to be enough? Casbolt, he's getting on his, I don't know how much more he's got left. McGovern, don't even worry about him. Curnow can't even get on the park. Big Harry, well, he's looking like he's getting his mitts on it, but is he going to be, if he is the number one, he's going to get the number one defender, which makes it difficult. Silvani just seems to, I don't know, I might have to get your thoughts on him. And once again, Gibbons, he's a smaller type of guy, so you don't expect much from him to kick bags every week. And then obviously if you throw in Peps, he's on, as I would say, the wrong side of 30. Is there enough firepower there from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, the game, on paper, it looks grim, and it even looks grim for a Carlton supporter. Honestly, you're right. You're dead right if you look at it just on paper. But the way we play, we're not very traditional. We are very versatile with the way we use our players. A lot of them have to play in two positions now. So that's why you see Fisher, Jack Martin, Gibbons play off a half-forward flank with moments in the midfield. And we're going to need guys like Walsh and Cripps to chip in with goals. We're going to need an even spread. I think that's the key there. Harry, you're right. If he's the number one player, he needs to be pushing for, 2 goals a game, that type of forward, your key forward. So, yeah, I think it's really going to be dependent on how well the game plan and the game style is, because we like to play the Richmond game where, keep it in the forward half, pressure, turnover, score off turnover. And we're not really traditional with that. With the way the game's
Richmond
played.
play the chaos ball, deliberate chaos ball. I don't think Carlton and many teams know how to play the chaos ball. They call it the chaos ball. I just think it's lack of skill, especially from some other teams. It's chaos because we've got no idea. They love the fact that they don't know where the ball's going to come. We don't actually know where the ball's going to go sometimes.
Correct.
It's like, close the eyes, ball going into the forward 50. Tell me when it's out or through the sticks, please, because it's just horrible to watch. So where's the concerns? Where do your concerns lie? Because, optimism is brilliant, but we've got to get on the Mark Neeld reality bus and realise there are going to be some concerns. What are yours for the season?
My concerns for the season are in the forward line. Mitch, I don't know where he's at. Levi, I don't know if we can rely on him. Harry, he's in year 6. We expect him to be good, but I still think he's got some maturity to come and he's going to have his slip-ups. And I just don't think there is a cohesion between mids and forwards yet. We haven't clicked with that just yet. And the good teams really have it. They can lower the eyes and know where their forwards are going to be. And we get sucked into playing we call it the Carlton hospital kick, where we just bomb it in long and hope for the best. And if we lock it in, great. And that's the worry. There it is right there. And the other thing I think is not really a concern, but something I'm just always really mindful of is the coaching group, more so the assistant coaches that we have. Are we developing our young players well? Because I have question marks over the development of our young boys compared to other clubs. You look at Sydney, for example, their young boys seem to come in and they just, once they play AFL football, they're ready. Whereas ours, it seems like most of them need more time. So some concerns for sure, if I'm being real.
Oh, mate, I agree. Sydney is just, I don't know what, there's got to be something up in the water. Because how can they have 2 guys that were just come straight out of the draft absolutely dominate like they did against Brisbane on the weekend? Like they're very much a no-name club. You look at them and you look at the list and go, and then they just come out and seem to do it I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's got to be culture. It's just got to be it's got to be it's the Marbo, it's the Serenity, it's everything that just makes it work up there. And if you could bottle some of it, I'm with you wholeheartedly. They just seem to do it, and you just want to know what the secret sauce is, because you got all these great players on your list. You got to be great to be drafted. It's as simple as that. You must be able to play the game, but they're able to just slot them in so easy. None of them ever look under body size. They don't look out of place. It's like they've played many seasons, but they're right. There are clubs that just struggle to get those. We'll draft 7, draft 10 kids. We might get 5 to play. They'll get 7 to 8. And they're always better, and they do it quicker.
You've got to respect them. You really do.
There is a lot of respect. Somebody else I have a bit of respect for too is David Teague as well too, because he had to take the role over good old Bolton. And I think, I reckon Bolt's got a bit of a, how would I say, a bad run, not a bad run, I'm trying to find the word. Bad rap for his time at Carlton, because you have a look at some of the players that he brought in during his time. It's just unfortunate he wasn't able to see them develop, but some of the ones that he's brought in are really going to start to, Teague is going to get the luxury of those as well too. How do you see him from a coaching perspective? Do you reckon you've got the right man in charge?
Yeah, so I watched the Making Their Mark documentary, and I came away from it saying couple of things and learning a couple of things, but the main one was really about David Teague. And I'm very big on body language and language spoken and communication, and just seeing how he addresses the group and interacts with players, and comparing him to someone like a Leon Cameron or an Adam Simpson or Damien Hardwick that I did get to see in that doco, gave me reassurance. He's a player's coach. He sees the game very well. He's got a proven attacking game style, which he obviously implemented at Adelaide, and he's trying to bring it to us. And yeah, I really do have faith in Teague. I think we've got the right man. I really do.
He seems the type of guy that will throw the arm around when it's needed. Yeah. But, when I say something and it's direct, you're going to take it straight in as well too. And he loves the game of football, and he truly loves his players. I watched the documentary as well too. And it's the stuff that you don't see behind the scenes that makes you appreciate how much that they go through. They think they stand up and do a press conference. That's the real person. You actually get to see what the real people are. And he opened my eyes a lot as well. Actually, all 4 coaches handled themselves completely differently. But it seems to work for them as well too.
Yep.
It's going to be a challenge though, because champion data, what an oxymoron that one is. 5th hardest draw that you guys have for the year. Okay. But these days draws are just, that's what it says at the, comparing the previous year. As we saw on the weekend, I don't know if you've done your footy tips for the weekend, but I thought after the first 3 games, I'm like, here we go. This is going to be shoo-in, and everything completely changes. It's a prediction, but it's not always accurate.
Yeah. I'm sitting on 1 tip for the weekend. So
picked Fremantle, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, smart man. Don't pick Melbourne ever, and you'll be right. Who's going to be the breakout? Who's the one that, like I said, who's the breakout for the year? For Carlton supporters out there listening to this going, I'll tell you what, Terry, mate, give me something to hang my hat on. Like, I know there's a lot of excitement, but who's the one that you sit back, like I said, gets you a little bit excited when he's just near, just on the field? He's picked. Here we go.
Yeah, I said his name before, and I'll say it again. He's Zach Fisher. He's the one. He's the one that's going to go to that next level. I'm very, very, very bullish on what he can do, and I think he's got that belief within himself. And to top it off with what you said earlier in the show, where it's like, who's the most exciting? He's exciting, and he's also going to have this breakout year for me anyway, because I'm just seeing the way he carries himself and seeing the way he plays off the ball, and he's doing all the little things and he's saying all the right things. And as long as he stays fit, he's put on a bit of size as well, so the body's ready. I thought Jack Silvani was a shot as well, but he's obviously hurt himself, so we won't see him for a chunk of the year.
Jack Martin? Hey, where do you see him fitting in? Like, the raps were he was the best player that some people had ever seen in his junior time up at Gold Coast. He's come down to Carlton once again, probably a year before on the big coin as well too. How have you sort of seen him so far? 2020, and obviously the first game is I didn't play on the weekend, did he? You didn't play on Friday night, did he?
No, he didn't play.
So how have you sort of seen him fly in? Because a lot of pressure on the guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of pressure on everyone at the club. I love what he brought.
You're a diplomat. You're a good diplomat. You're not a politician, are you?
I don't know. No, I wouldn't dare.
That was the best answer. Just a nice deflect. Just like there is pressure on everybody, but when you're the guy per se,
yeah,
I think he handled himself all right last year.
I loved him because he brought what we needed: talent, skill, but more importantly, physicality and toughness. And that's something we all thought we needed as fans as well. While these bodies start growing, we need guys that can crack in. So I love what he brought. It was a shame that he got hurt a little bit towards the end. The calf was playing up, and it's also a shame that he hurt his calf before round one and was an out. It was an omission basically on the Wednesday. He hurt it at the last training session. So I think he proved himself last year. And I wouldn't say he could break out and become the best player in the league in 2021. I mean, he might, but I don't really expect that from him. I don't think we as fans do. We expect him to be one of our better players, but he plays that half forward mid role. So he's one that for us has to be kicking, 15 to 20 goals in that bracket somewhere. He's got to be providing.
Oh, look, I think he's got the capability to kick more, especially with the 22 round season. Like that's one a game. He's capable of kicking, I won't say bags of two, but he can have he can get his twos and threes because he has got the capability, and he's done it before.
Yeah, little Ziplocs.
Yeah, just slips the little Ziploc. The little Ziplocs. I get frustrated when they go, he's kicked a bag and it's 4.
He's kicked a bag.
A bag's got to be 6. We spoke about this before. A bag is a 6. That's a bag.
Yes.
Anything less than 6 is not a bag. It's not a bag.
Absolutely. Right. It's got to be it's got to fill up in a plastic bag for it to be a
It's got to be more than a handful, because more than a handful, you need a bag to carry it.
Correct.
And that's 6.
Correct.
Jeez, you're a top bloke. Hey, listen. Now we've talking about if Zach Fisher's going to be your breakout, who's going to be the breakdown? Now, who's going to be in there last season? Probably not going to be there next year. Now, we could go the obvious one with probably Eddie Betts. So I'm not letting you getting away with that one too simply. Who else do you think might be on their last legs?
I'm not sure if you're aware, but I am the biggest Mark Murphy fan in the world, and I will challenge anyone on that. I love Murph. However, I worry that the pace of the game is too much for him, and it may be his last year this year. It may be. There's one that's not the obvious. There's a bit of pressure on him to stay in the side. Matt Kennedy is one who's out of contract this year, so pressure on him. It's going to go one way or another this year, depending on how he plays. So, there's a couple who I have my eye on who I'm starting to think, okay, well, how's it going to go?
Murph. I'll look at Murph and I'll look at Nathan Jones. They're another one of those, a couple of those players who have just been in the wrong team at the wrong time, but have just done everything they possibly can. They're a bee's dick to 300 games. Murph's on 286. I think Jones only needs another 5, I think, to get to it as well too. So you just want them to get to 300. And then you can say, he's done everything he possibly can for that club. He's led them when he needed to. He's pushing 34 this year. It's very similar to Jones, I must say. So that they're almost identical in how long they've been around for, how long they've played. And they're those players that, once again, every club needs just those grinded out life of the party. They might not be be the best going around, but geez, they will give you their best each and every single week. And he's another one who's copped it from supporters and the media for years. And a lot of it, I don't think, has been worth it. Hasn't been. It's a cheap shot. It's shooting fish in a barrel type of stuff. Yeah.
19 surgeries for Mark Murphy over his career. The body's just had a rough and rugged run at it. He's been criticised for being too soft, but he's really hurt himself trying to be a real physical inside midfielder, which is what you want your captain to be. And obviously when he was captain, he was asked to do such things, and he just doesn't have the body type to crash in like what a Dangerfield does and come out, on top all of the time. So I'm a big fan of his. I thought 2011 when he was he won the Coaches Award and he had a breakout year, I thought he was just going to be one of the best players in the league for many, many years. And unfortunately, after that Dangerfield hit, he really wasn't the same, and he had to adjust the game style. And Yeah, but I love him. He's like you said, he's a clubman. Nathan Jones, he's a Melbourne man. So you need him around the club.
Every club has got one, which is good. Yep. All right. This is where we get to the pointy end of the season. Pointy end of the preview, Terry. I need you to put a prediction on where are Carlton going to finish on the ladder season 2021 before finals. Okay, we've got to talk, it's either top 8 or bust. To a degree, where honestly can you see them rolling through for a position at the end of 2021?
So I'm looking at 12 wins. 12 wins this season.
Wins. All right. So have you done your tracker, have you? Oh, yeah.
I have. I don't have it in front of me, but I think 12 wins gets us into 8th, maybe 7th.
I'll tell you. So I don't worry about last year. So if I go by 2019 got you... Yeah, 12 wins, but you'll need a percentage over about 105. So you still need to be
105.
Yeah, because it was 95 and 107. So I'm going halfway between two. All right, so you're probably going to need about between 100 and 105 for percent. If you go to 2018, same sort of thing. It was 13 wins. 2017, It was 12 wins. So I reckon if you do get that 12 wins, you're putting yourself in contention. Win half your games or more than half your games, you're putting yourself in contention, and then it relies about. And so going to be a lot of those 50-50 games. If you have a look at the teams in the bottom 10, they're the ones that you've got to win. Top ones, so be it. But yeah, it's those bottom ones against, my mob, Hawks, Collingwood, Freo, Gold Coast, Essendon. They're the ones you have to pinch twice to allow for the other one. So I totally get that. All 100%. Right. I always say this to every guest. It's time to put the agates on the chopping board, because we're going to take off the Carlton hat and just put on the overall supporters hat. Who is going to take out the 2021 premiership, if not Carlton? Because you'll probably do a Western Bulldogs from 8th or from 7th and then go straight through the grand final and win it. But if that doesn't happen, who can you see taking out the big prize this year?
I mean, I can see Richmond, but they're the obvious answer, and I won't give them as an answer. So, because if they make it on grand final day, then I'll probably, it's hard to back against them. But I think it's going to be Port Adelaide this year.
That has been the overwhelmingly positive choice. I reckon it would have come up at least half of the way. Mind you, they played Adelaide in a couple of practice matches and destroyed them both times, and then they've come out this week and pretty much took the foot off the pedal at 3/4 time against North. So they just look dangerous. They've got the hyphen. They've got their own hyphen or two times down there, Alir, and then they've also got Radio, who's just slotted in nicely, and he's kicked his 4 on the weekend too. So I think you're right. They've got better, but they've got younger. Where Geelong, if you pick them, got older. So if the way that the game is being played gets towards the end of the year, I think that they've loaded up the wrong way. But a very, very popular choice. Brownlow medalist. If you had to pick someone as a Brownlow medalist, you can't pick Matt Rowell because it looks like he may have done his knee. So I'm just giving you the heads up. Don't make that mistake, because, it looks like he's going to be out for a while, unfortunately, at the time of this recording. Who have you got your eyes on?
I think Bontempelli.
Yep.
That's who I've picked for the year. If Fife's healthy, you got to always look at Fife. But if I had to pick one, it's Bont for me. I think he's just in that perfect sweet spot.
He's choco ripe, isn't he? He's 8th. I think they said it's his 8th season. Fife won it in his 7th. Ablett won his first in his 7th. He's in that sweet spot, and he's got a team that makes him stand out even more. And if he can hit the scoreboard a few more times, exactly right. All right, here we go. Quick hands for you, my friend. Get ready for this. These are the ones that you don't know about. Okay, Here we go. If you could pick one or the other, who would it be? Cooter or Kernahan?
Cooter.
Nice. All right. Who's had a bigger influence on the club playing-wise? Cripps or Judd?
Judd.
Okay. Who was the better small forward? Eddie Betts or Stephen Milne?
Stephen Milne.
All right. Now, you had Sard, you had Williams, and you had Martin. Who is the next big recruit that's going to be coming to Carlton?
Oh, gosh. Zach Merritt.
Interesting. And the one that I like to finish off with is, and it's just perfect right now for you guys. If you could pick anybody from any other team right now and slot them straight into the Carlton lineup, who would it be?
Right here, right now, it would be Jeremy Cameron.
Magnificent. Now, Terry, you have been an absolute star, and we know that. People listening to this going, gee, I'll tell you what, that Peps guy's all right, but Terry, he's sensational. Blue Abroad, I want to get on the Blue Abroad bandwagon. How do they listen to you? Where do they find you? This is your time to shine and tell everybody where they can find you on a regular basis for season 2021 and moving forward.
Well, YouTube is the starting point. We're a fan channel, so just youtube.com/Blue Abroad. That's where you start. Or you hit the website, blueabroad.com.au. We've got the written side of things on that side. So if you enjoy reading articles, we've got that for you. If you enjoy watching videos instead, we've got that for you. Really, it's Blue Abroad on every platform: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat,
Tinder.
And then if you... Yeah, well, had to delete the app. It's footy season. I've got no time.
Oh, jeez, I tell you, yeah, fair enough. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to have all those links on the show notes as well too. So, look, Terry, I can't thank you enough. This whole journey of getting across to every single club where we possibly can and speaking to podcasters and content creators like us has been nothing short of sensational. And I think that your club, Carlton, are setting themselves up, may not be 2021, but for some success that you guys have been dreaming about for a very long time. And I'll tell you what, when Carlton's winning, Lygon streets are pumping and the burnouts are going down that beautiful street in Carlton, and I can't wish you nothing but the best because, like we said before, a winning Carlton is a happy Carlton, and it's better for the league all round. Even though we sometimes can't stand you, but we just love footy and we love everything about you. So, listeners, there you go. That is Blue Abroad. That is Lace Out. That is your Carlton 2021 season preview. Have a fantastic year, Carlton supporters. You're going to be looking for something special this year. I think you're definitely on the right trajectory. So, all the best and catch up soon.
Go Baggers.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Thanks for listening to our latest episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, and with Jamie Wallace, we give you your footy how you want it. Peace out.